Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast, this time discussing a series of Doctor Who books, 3 of them. There'll be a podcast dedicated to each one, and we'll be doing them in order. The Glamour Chronicles is a brand new series of Clara and the Capaldi Doctor. Notice how I still can't call him the 12th? It's ridiculous, even after all this time. He calls himself the 12th Doctor, but that's not important. What is important is that around this time of year when Doctor Who's on TV, they like to produce novelisations. Now, they did it last time, but the novelisations were written with a sort of framework of the new Doctor. The Doctor's been in situ for a year now, so these new books have been written with, well, the ability to see what the Doctor's like and to capture his essence and characterisation. So the 3 new books have come out, and they're all part of something called the Glamour Chronicles. Now, the Glamour Chronicles is written in very small writing because they are all standalone stories that can be read in any order, except, of course, they've got a story arc. And when you've got a story arc, you kind of want to approach it in order. So if you want to find out the order, normally you would look on the book and have a bit of a read, but it doesn't say. It just says also available in the same series. All 3 books have got it on. None of them have a number. The only place that there is a number is on the ISBN on the back, because they were all submitted for ISBN numbers around the same time. And if you do read the numbers, the ascending goes up in completely the reverse order. So that's of no help. But basically, the order is Royal Blood by Una McCormick, then Big Bang Generation by Doctor Who's own Gary Russell, and finally A Deep Time by Trevor Baxendale. All pretty impressive names. The books themselves come in at $6.99 and are that nice new format that they use for Doctor Who books, which is hardback in kind of trade paperback size. It means they're rugged, they're handsome, and they look pretty damn good on your shelf. The design's the same as the last 3 from last year, which means that all of the Capaldi Doctor books will have the same sort of spines, in the same way that all of Matt Smith's books had very similar spines as well. So what are they about? Well, let's have a look at the blurb for Royal Blood, which is the one I'll be covering in this podcast. Similarly, in a couple of days' time, I'll be covering the other 2 books in separate podcasts. The city-state of Valence is falling. Duke Urilan. The Duke is the last of his line, his capital is crumbling, and the armies of his enemy, Duke Conrad, are poised beyond the mountains to invade. Urilan is preparing to gamble everything on one last battle. So when a holy man, the Doctor, comes to Varese from beyond the mountains, Urilan asks him for his blessings in the war. However, all is not what it seems in Varese. The city guards have lasers for swords. Their halls are lit by electric candlelight. Urilan's beloved wife, Gwena, and his most trusted knight, Bernard, seem to be plotting to overthrow their duke, and Clara finds herself drawn into their intrigue. Will the Doctor stop Urilan from going to war? Will Clara's involvement in the plot against the Duke be discovered? Why is Conrad's ambassador so nervous? And who are the ancient and weary knights who arrive in Varese claiming to be on a quest for the Holy Grail? All pretty intriguing stuff. And as always, the best way to judge is to hear an excerpt. So here are the first few pages, read by me. LaRue's is lost now. Even the name is gone. The maps have been overwritten. The books burned or locked away in some forgotten library. The children taught different stories in a different tongue. Perhaps, high up in the mountains, some old goatherd remains muttering away, his accent thick and impenetrable, with only his charges and the silent peaks to hear him.
We spoke the old language, of course, my wife and I, but only when we were alone together. We told the old tales and sang the old songs, and we took some comfort in them. When the world that you have loved is lost, you hold whatever fragments remain to you, and they are more precious and dear to you than all the riches of the new world. We grieved our loss, and we remembered our past, but in all our long years together, we never spoke of returning. Why would we? In the early days, return would have brought Conrad's men down upon us, and later, when the long years had made those old struggles meaningless, we knew that the land we had loved was gone for good. We consoled ourselves with the knowledge that it was only in leaving our home that we were able to become husband and wife. Time changes all things. All love ends in one way or another. Only memory remains. Even my name is different now. To the woman who washes and cleans for me, I am the old man, to be fussed over and reprimanded. To the children who come every other day, I am grandfather, to be teased and hugged, and have treats coaxed from me. And to these people who come to hear my counsel, the lost and the lonely, the man who can find no love, the woman who can find no rest, I am father, the holy man, the man of wisdom, the man of peace. To my wife, I was beloved, but those days are now truly behind me. And once upon a time, my name was Barnard, Lord Barnard of Varese, the land between the mountains and the sea, the lost land, the land that is gone. Once they dreamt of glory, once they dreamt that their names would go down in song and story and appear in lights, that they had their quest would never be forgotten. They have been travelling for a long time. When they first set out they rode horseback, now they fly between the stars. Eons have passed since they set out, and they have been travelling for so long that they have forgotten their names and their histories. Over the years they have taken new names and histories again and again, and forgotten these in turn again and again. Now they are too old to care about names or histories. They are too old even to care for glory. All that matters is the quest, whatever that might mean. For they have forgotten even that. There was only the chase, the never-ending chase. Are we lost? Clara peered down into the deep, narrow valley. It was very beautiful. She had to admit, with bright green glass. She had to admit, with bright green grass and a light dusting of mountain flowers. A touch Heidi, but it wasn't the quasi-medieval city she'd been promised. It was nothing like a city at all. Lost. The doctor waved his sonic screwdriver around in apparently random fashion. Of course we're not lost. Lost as a state of mind. Lost as an attitude towards one's circumstances. We are lost. Maybe a little.
Yes, Una is a fantastically good author. Her track record is brilliant. Her Star Trek novels are voted amongst the best ever written. She's written drama for Big Finish, and she's been on the New York Times bestsellers list. Genuinely, this is a work of art. As an introduction for the main story arc, it isn't overly egged, but it is incredibly well executed. If you're looking for a read that isn't too expensive, then this is a great place to start. So I'll say farewell and speak to you next time about the next book in the Glamour Chronicles. So until then, be seeing you.
You've been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast, available on RSS, iTunes, Stitcher, Audio Boom and Tumblr. Doctor Who and its associated works are copyright of the BBC. No infringement is intended. You can contact the show, donate, buy merchandise, or find out more about my other projects by visiting the Tin Dog Podcast homepage and clicking on the links. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.